What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we're going to get into a $100 box of nickels, and I think these came from Loomis. Let's take a look at the wrap here. These are in fact Loomis Nickels. Now as you can see, I did open the box at the bank because I do like to double check for circulated nickels. I get a whole lot of brand new boxes of nickels, and that's why you guys don't see me hunting them too often on the channel. So like all my other nickel videos, we are on our hunt to fill out our Buffalo nickel album and our Whitman Jefferson nickel album from 1938 to actually 2023. That's how many pages we have in this book. I'm not going to go through those here in the beginning of the video because, in short, this is the very small list of nickels that I have left to get to fill out that big album. So I'm looking forward to getting into these nickels, hopefully finding a few hole fillers. Of course, we'll always have our eye open for Buffalo nickels, V nickels, and those precious silver war nickels from 1942 to 1945. And as always, we'll have my checklist, which you can find in the description down below, along with the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change album, which is a fantastic book for references for your varieties and errors. So if you're interested in that book, make sure you check for my Amazon link in the description down below. And with that, let's go ahead and get into these nickels. So like my $1/2 videos, I'm going to go ahead and open up maybe 2 or 3 rolls of these on camera here real quick and just kind of spread through them to see if we have anything that looks really old that could be interesting to look at. Believe it or not, a silver war nickel, a lot of times you can tell that it's going to be a war nickel just from the edge, even though it is a bit harder to tell with nickels than it is with $1/2 because nickels are made of nickel mainly. And it's just sort of a color difference in that nickel that makes it a little easier to spot. Now, as for what we're looking for finds, we do keep our eye out for anything 1959 and older. We'll call out all of those. There's also a handful of nickels like the 2009 that are terribly difficult to come by. And then most of our varieties really start 1964 and earlier. The Strike It Rich album does call out a handful of more modern nickels, like the 2023. It has a bunch of die chips and errors on the reverse, so we'll be sure to look for those as well. But a lot of the stuff I look for is 1964 and earlier. So I didn't see anything too old in there. I just kind of wanted to quickly just kind of go through them to see if we had a Buffalo nickel or a war nickel. So here's a 1940. This is something we would call a find. It is a 1940. Looks like a Philadelphia. Much, much older nickel, much lower mintage, so that's something we're going to hang on to. There's a modern Buffalo nickel. Those are from 2005. And a lot of people that see my videos that go, oh, you can't really coin roll hunt going through them that fast. I'm just doing that for you guys on camera. I will go back and look at each and every one of those nickels to see if there's anything interesting on it. I'm just trying to find the cool stuff really quickly with you guys here on these first 3 rolls. So if you're new to coin roll hunting, nickels are also another great way to get into the hobby because it only costs $100 for a box, whereas, you know, you get into your quarters and $1/2, you are looking at a $500 output just to get a box to hunt. And nickels and quarters are much easier to find at a branch near you, whereas $1/2 typically you have to order them. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go back through these. If I do find anything interesting that I missed going through them so quickly, I'll be sure to bring you back in. If not, we'll keep hunting the box, and I'll bring you in as we find stuff. So we've gotten into roll number 6, and we're about halfway down. We've gone through a bunch of them, and we've got our next find here. We've got a 1952. Not terrible shape. Looks like we have a Denver. We'll put it up here with our 1940. So we just got into roll number 11, and we've come across our oldest find of the hunt. It is a 1939. Now, we need the Denver for our books. The Denver is a key date as well as the San Francisco. However, I think both of them, the D and the Philadelphia, both have some DDOs and DDRs. We're going to check that out here as well. But the big one, well, let's look here first. We've got ourselves a Philly, so not an upgrade to the book. But what we're really interested in is the DDR, which I don't see under this magnification. We'll put it under the scope here. But we're going to check all the lettering for possible DDOs, DDRs, and that's double die obverse and double die reverse. Now, Monticello is really where we want to look, and it's very heavy doubling, where basically you would see like 2 L's and 2 E's. We don't have it on this coin, unfortunately, because that would make this a much more valuable coin. We also want to check the word cents, and I'm not seeing anything there either. If anything, there's maybe a little bit of machine doubling in here, but that's not enough to, that's not the type of doubling we're looking for. So let's check the front really quickly here. So no doubling in the word Liberty or 1939. Come around here for trust. Okay, well, I'm not seeing anything. Just an old 1939, but I'll take it. It's the second year release of the Jefferson. So still on roll number 11 here, a little bit further in the roll, we've got our next find. We've got ourselves a 1951. Now, the 1951, checking my cheat sheet here, 51S is a semi-key date, which means it's going to be exceptionally low mintage. Let's see what we got here. We do actually have the semi-key date 1951S. You can see right there that S San Francisco mint mark. I'm checking to see as well the 51. I'm not seeing any kind of over mint mark type RPM or inverted mint mark error to look out for. But still very, very cool. I'll put the mintage of this up on the screen. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. I'm sure it's between 5 and 10 million. But that is a really, really cool find in a circulated box of nickels. So roll number 12, our very next find, we've got ourselves a 1959. Looks like we have a Denver. So getting into roll 14, well, actually, really 5 coins from the end. Now, I did take a peek at this one because it looked really old when I picked it up, but didn't know that it was going to be a 1956 until I looked at the front. So we got ourselves a 56 Denver. The Philly would have had a bunch of QDRs and triple die reverses and things we could look for, but the Denver, unfortunately, does not. We got a little scratch or something there. Let's check that out under the scope just to make sure we're not missing like a die crack or something. And that just looks like a little bit of post-mint damage to me. All right, well, our 56 is going to go on the board right up here. So we're all the way up here on roll number 23. We've got our next find, and it's a foreign, kind of a cool-looking 1985 beaver nickel from Canada. I say beaver nickel. It's got a beaver on the back. We've got Elizabeth II here on the front. And this one's seen some better days, but it's kind of got a cool patina or tarnish on it. So something I'll hang on to. We'll put it up there with the rest of our finds. I think that was our 39. It was. So make sure it wasn't just a random nickel. So we've gotten into roll number 24 here. We're just a couple of nickels from the end of the roll, and we came across a 1947, again with kind of a cool patina, a little bit like that Canadian up there. Let's see what we have. Well, that just looks funny. Well, we got a lot of damage on it, so no matter what it is, it's not going to be worth much. I know the 47 is also a Hennig nickel year, so that's a year that it's a fake nickel. But this almost looks like somebody tried to turn like a 47D into a 47S, or maybe put that under the scope. Back out here a little bit. That is just strange looking. I mean, it's clearly, you can see like the outline of a D, but it also very much looks like an S. And I am looking at my cheat sheet. I don't see anything like a 47D over S or a S over D. So I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to do a little bit of internet research. If I come up with anything, I will let you know. But again, this one is the Hennig nickel year, so it would weigh, you know, I think like 5.4 grams if it were faked. Let's check it out real quick. Most nickels are right at 5 grams, so let's just stick another nickel on here to show. Yeah, 4.9. So it doesn't weigh heavy. The other telltale signs are a die crack up here, kind of on the right-hand side, or kind of between the R and the I, or the B and the U. And there's a hole in the bottom of the R. Let's check that out, see if we see anything under the scope. So don't see anything in the R, and I don't see any die cracks in here. So I just think this is going to end up being a regular plain old 1947, but that mint mark's got me a little bit stumped. I would have guessed it was a D, but it looks a little bit like an S. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? So we're into the very next roll, roll 46, and we've got our next 40s of the hunt. We've got ourselves a 1946. Now, this is another one of those potential Henning nickel years. I've already checked online since I saw it was a 1946, and this one would have the looped R in it. I also double checked on the 1947. The telltale style in the 1947 is that it weighs about 5.2 or 5.3 grams. I did weigh mine. It did not weigh heavy. It was like right around 5 grams if I recall. But this 46 would have the big loop and the R at the base of pluribus. And if we look at this under the scope, you'll see we have a regular R. So we just have a regular plain old 1946 for the board. But one of these days, I'm going to find one of these faked Henning nickels. So same roll with just a couple left towards the end. We've got another find of the box here. We've got ourselves a 1957. Looks like we got a Philadelphia. Decent looking 1957 too, considering how old it is. So we're about halfway through roll number 29, and we have come across our next find. We've got ourselves a 1940. Now, I think this is a duplicate. Yeah, it is. At least in year. I haven't looked at that mint mark yet. We've got a couple of scratches on the face here, but we've got a 1940 Philadelphia. So 2 Phillies on the box. We've gotten into roll number 33, and this guy just looks old from the back, so let's see what we got together here. It's a Philadelphia for sure. Uh-oh, losing it. We've got ourselves a 1941 for the board, and I think it's the first 41 we've got. Yeah, we have 40 and 46, so he's going to go right in there somewhere. So getting into roll number 36, and this one was an ender. I noticed it when I was opening the wrapper. It looked old, but not as old as it turned out to be. Now, unfortunately, I wish this was a Denver, but we got a 1938, so the very first year Jefferson nickel. This one actually looks really, really good. Like I said, the Denver would have made this a key date, and I want to say here the 38 does have a DDO and a DDR. I'll check that out. If I see anything in particular, I'll bring you back in, but very cool. We got a 38 and a 39 on this hunt, and this 38 looks pretty darn good. Into roll number 42, we got our next 50s find. We've got ourselves a 1958. Let's see if we got a Philly or a Denver. We have a Denver. We already have a 58. Now we had a 57 and a 59. We'll put that up here. I got a couple just nice ones I'm keeping for the book, and I brought you in for just about everything else. So let's see if anything else pops out of this roll. So literally just a couple of nickels later, we did come across the first one of these I've found in a while, and it's a 2009 Philly. Now, it's seen better days, but I've gone through probably 2 or 3 boxes since I found my last 2009. These are super low mintage and quite hard to come by. I've actually already pulled my red book out here to just show you guys. Like if we look at the 2006, between the two, we're at like, what is that, 1.4 million, something like that, a bunch. But the 2009, you'll see the Philly and Denver, very, very low mintage, 39,840,000 on the Philly and 46,800,000 on the 2009 Denver. And in MS63, you'll see these guys are worth $3 a pop when everything else is only worth a quarter. So if you don't have that 2009 in your search list, make sure you add it because it is very, very low mintage for being a modern nickel. All right, well, this is the roll that just won't stop giving here. We're about 10 from the end, and we've got another 50s. We got ourselves a 1957 Denver, and this one's pretty beat up. Not a lot of value here, but it's an old nickel, so we'll hang on to it. So roll number 47, if I'm doing my math right here, we are just a handful of nickels. Let's see, about 6 nickels in. We've got our next find, and we've got one of these before. It's a 1940. This is probably the worst looking one of the bunch, but it is a Philadelphia. So 3 40s on the hunt. Well, this is the roll that doesn't want to stop giving. Just 2 from the end. We've got another 50s nickel, a 1956 Denver. Well, this brings us to the end of our hunt. You can see I've already got everything rewrapped except for one roll because we did have quite a number of finds in this video. So I was really happy with the number of coins we were able to pull. We're going to go through everything we found in the video, as well as my 2 favorite finds, and we'll talk a little bit more about those. But Up here, we did get one foreign, a Canadian, Queen Elizabeth II, a 1985 Canadian nickel with a nice little patina on it. I do hang on to all of my Canadian currency, even though they're not worth more than, I don't know, probably a nickel. I've created tubes and I just hang on to them. I should probably buy a book and start filling them out. Really happy to find a 38 Philly and a 39 Philly. This 39 Philly almost was an upgrade to my book. Too bad they weren't the Denver mint marked because I needed some of those for my book. But always cool to find a first and second year Jefferson nickel. We got three 1940s, a 41, a 46, a 47, a 52. We had three 56s, two 57s, a 58, and a 59. And I did check my books to see if any of these would be upgrades, and unfortunately, they were not. Every coin here that had a possible repunched mint mark or double die obverse or double die reverse was checked. And of course, most importantly, I'm just dying to find a Henning nickel. So every single year that could have been a fake nickel, we checked, and I didn't have any markers to indicate we had a Henning nickel. Now, the cool stuff for the video, in my opinion, are this 1951 San Francisco semi-key date, a little over 7.7 million minted. This is almost an upgrade for my book. We've got a little gunk on it. If that'll come off in some acetone, this may very well be an upgrade, but I've already got this one in the book. But very cool finding semi-key dates. I did check on the price guide. This is not a super high value coin. Even in like an MS, I want to say 65, it's only about a $25 nickel. This coin is definitely not that kind of grade. And obviously if you had full steps, it'd be worth a whole lot more than that. But we don't have full steps either. So this is maybe $1, $2, maybe $3 nickel at best. And of course this 2009 Philadelphia, while not as cool as our 51 San Francisco key or semi-key, these are still very limited mintage nickels and very hard to come by. So always excited to add a few more of these to my tubes. Now, all of the coins up here, I am creating tubes. They're all sitting back there of 38, 259, and I'm trying to do mint marks, so Philly and Denver tubes. So every time we find these, it just adds to the collection. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I surely enjoyed making it. If you did, drop on down below, click that like button, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Are you hunting nickels? What are you finding? I was a little disappointed we didn't find any silver or any V-nickels or any buffalo nickels in this hunt, because it's always fun to find those, but sometimes the boxes can be a little few and far between on those, especially the V-nickels. So let me know what you guys are hunting in the comments down below. If you're new to coin roll hunting, and you're new to the channel, make sure you do drop on down below, click that subscribe button, and then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do release a new video. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel each and every month. I really, really appreciate it. I've got a $50 video that'll come out shortly after this one, and I've got a box of dimes and a box of pennies I got to get through, so hopefully we'll get those out this week or maybe this weekend. So with that, you guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.